Hey there, it's Denny and Luis.
Hey, everybody.
So Boston's been buzzing with excitement lately. Carol G came to town recently, and we've got more amazing artists like Luis Miguel and Yo-Yo Ma performing soon. Are you looking forward to any guest artists this semester?
Absolutely. I recently watched a Zoom interview with film scoring composer Ramin Djawadi. He studied at Berklee too and shared his inspiring journey. He emphasized practice, enjoying life, and the unique path each of us follows.
Having the opportunity to see and interact with all of these great guest artists is made possible by the support of our donors. If you too want to help enhance our Berklee experience, please visit berklee.edu/giving. Your contribution matters.
See you next time, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Berklee Alumni's Pass the Mic. I'm Jaquel.
And I'm Patrick Pharma. Jaquel doesn't like the way I introduce myself. I try it. I
love it.
But she doesn't like it. You know, we're a work in progress.
Yeah, we're getting there slowly but surely. Today, we have a great interview with Seth Saltzman. Who is he?
Seth is an Alumni Achievement Award recipient, and he is the Senior Vice President of Global Services for ASCAP. I think it's kind of interesting to hear what Seth has to say because Seth started off in the industry when it was really analog, so it was like linear tape, monitoring music on the radio with like a pen and paper. And now we're on the cusp of AI taking everything over. So it's an interesting juxtaposition of where we are now versus how it started.
He had some great input of just like you said, just being able to see how things have changed. So he definitely gives great input on where he sees things going.
Right. Yeah. No. And he's super nice and he's super authentic. And he does a lot of work for Berklee, doing visits and talking to students and everything. So I say this a lot, but I do think that Alumni Achievement Award recipients really are very genuine people. And because of the way that they carry themselves, their success leads to great things. So let's hear your interview with Seth Saltzman.
Yes, enjoy. All right, everybody, we have Seth Saltzman. Hello, welcome. How's it feel to be back in Boston?
It feels great to be back in Boston. I love Boston. I've loved it. I've been here so many times, but I had only been here once before college started. It wasn't a place that I traveled to with my family. Came up to Boston in 76 to see the college for the first time, and it was got to be here. Got to be here.
So where are you from?
I'm from New Jersey, born and bred in Jersey City, New Jersey, and lived in Jersey all my life.
Oh, wow. Okay, so Boston's not too far from home, right? So
no, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
A couple hundred miles away.
That is awesome. So what is one of your favorite memories of Berklee?
Favorite memory of Berklee? Certainly the early days are a great memory of Berklee, of just the incredible discovery of music with people my age, people older than me, people from all over the world, it wasn't just kids from New Jersey. It was like,
right.
Oh, this guy from England, this guy from Germany, kids from Japan and France. And it was just extraordinary to be just thrown into that. So the first few days were a whirlwind that I remember very, very well.
Wow.
I mean, I can really remember getting there and freaking out in my first couple of days that I was from a small school, very small high school with no music program whatsoever. And I come to Berklee, and before the placement exams, as they did back then, was when it wasn't an audition school, you got placed at your levels in performance, in theory, in harmony, and arranging.
Was it a test?
Yeah, they actually gave you placement tests, and you found out where you stood. So my first couple of nights there, all these kids are talking about all the harmony they took and the bands they played in. I was a little intimidated, overwhelmed, but I wasn't leaving, so I did it. So that's the early days are a great memory. Then getting more confidence in myself to take different courses as the years went on. Phenomenal memories of performing in very different things. I did some big band ensembles. I did musicals and plays because Berklee had no theater then. We weren't associated with the conservatory.
Right.
I did The Odd Couple. I did everything. Funny Thing Happened on the Way to Form in the Performing Arts Center. I worked with a theater group. We called ourselves the Pumpernickel Players. We did plays at a space outside because the college wouldn't even give us a space to do shows. Yeah, it was it was the old days. But great memories of friends that I made here, and just learning stuff I didn't know.
Right. I think that's really cool that she was able to like kind of just expand your horizons. Like at first, like you said, you didn't have any background. And then here, you want to get your foot wet in every aspect of like the music industry. Last night, you kind of spoke on how it wasn't just the teaching and the lessons that you learned inside the classroom. It was kind of like the bonds that you were able to build with other students. Can you explain more about that? Like, do you still keep in contact with students from when you attended here? How was that relationship?
Yeah, I have not 100 close friends from Berklee, but I probably have a dozen or so people that I went to school with that I'm still in touch with, and a few that I'm really good friends with all these years later, including Peter Gordon, who was head of Berklee West Coast, colleague, other friends that I made here who are just from Massachusetts, from California, from Florida, that we stayed in touch. And it wasn't easy to stay in touch because I graduated in 1981. There was no email. There was no internet. So I have my little black book of like, give me your phone number. How am I going to find you later?
Right.
And it really worked out that a few years, and I don't think they do anymore, but there were Berklee directories that came out, these red cover, hardcover books with the directories of alumni, and they helped me find people again. And then Facebook, you found everybody again.
Right.
and it reconnected with people around the world from Berklee that I had lost touch with. But the student connection was important. Equally important for me was my connection with my teachers, because it was such a small school and there were no 300-seat lecture halls at Berklee. You sat in a room, as you well know, with 9, 10, 15 students in these small rooms and your teachers right there. And they were very accessible. And I quickly latched on as a 18-year-old. I want to get to know these teachers if they're willing to take some extra time with me and talk. And I stayed in touch with quite a few of my teachers, including John Aldrich, who was with me last night, who was my songwriting teacher in 79 until the end. Neil Olmsted, who was my private lesson teacher, who's still here. We're in touch and still friends. And Don Wilkins, the former head of the film scoring department. So, yeah, those connections I made with my fellow students and faculty. I don't think many colleges are like that. Well, bigger schools, it'd be really hard for a student to get to know that many professors closely.
Yeah, that's awesome just to see how the growth of your relationship has been since like the beginning. You never, when people say when you go to college, you're building lifetime relationships. And then just to see that play out is something, people always look forward to. Can you explain a little bit more? I know you talked about this last night, but can you explain a little bit more how you made like your bit from working in the music or with the music instruments, but then moving over into like the business side of music?
Sure. So, after college, I was playing for any singer that needed a piano player. I was doing all sorts of cabaret stuff in New York for anybody who needed me. I was like, okay, let's go, let's play. And I was teaching music in Jersey City, first in public schools, then in parochial school, and started doing shows at the same time. But I had this thing I knew about ASCAP, I knew about the business, and it was a well-known job among musicians in New York that you could go in and be a tape monitor and listen to tapes of radio stations and identify songs fast. We were talking about it last night that she was great describing the job that I had of listening to music to identify the songs so that we could pay royalties to the writers and publishers. But what she didn't actually describe was we need to do that really quickly. I couldn't sit there and listen to the whole song. So you'd listen, hear a song, American Pie, Don McLean, fast forward, next.
How'd you train yourself to be so quick at that then?
Well, first of all, I know a lot of songs. And I had like instant recall of, I know what that is. We talk about Name That Tune. It was an old game show. But it was more like Shazam. Like my kids used to play in the car with me, who's faster, Dad or Shazam? And they would hit Shazam and see if I could get the song faster than Shazam could get it. I don't want to brag, but
you was winning, huh?
I was winning. No, I was good at it, and I had that recall. Could I do it now? Music has passed me by, I think, in some ways. But there was that moment in time in the mid '80s where put it on. But what was fun about it was, how do you do research if you don't know the song? What do you do if you don't know the song? And it was an extraordinary group of really bright music maven nutcases who just knew every song, whether they knew country music or gospel or rhythm and blues or Broadway show tunes, pop, jazz, because it was everything. The tapes just came through. Oh, here's a tape from Philly. Here's a tape from Atlanta. Here's a tape from South Carolina. Here's a tape from Arizona. And you're going to hear Latin music. In Miami, Spanish language music is different than Southern California Spanish language music, right? So
a lot of different genres.
Well, yeah, a lot of different genres. Very regional, which you don't have anymore in radio. But back then, everything is the same now. You could drive your car from here to California, and every town's same station.
And even like they have recordings playing on different radio stations. Like I know the radio station in Boston sometimes plays radio stations from New York, or like the whole iHeart radio syndication area. I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's playing the same thing all over the place. So I pivoted. I decided cold stop on being a teacher. I quit the job. I applied for the ASCAP job, took the tests, started in late '84. And when I got there, I realized this is a fun job. It's really cool, but it's not something I want to do for the rest of my life. This job in particular, because first of all, I don't lose my hearing to sit there with headphones on, listening to 8 hours, listening to maybe 11 or 12 hours of music in 8 hours, fast forwarding, listen.
Right.
And it's very one thing job. Listen to music, write it down, listen to music.
Right.
Great job, essential then.
Yeah.
But it's like, there's something else here. And that's how I started at ASCAP, volunteering with other departments, finding out what's going on outside my area. What do you do over there? How does this work at ASCAP? Why do we do it that way? Really making myself available to other people.
That's awesome. So what is your favorite part of your position right now?
Easy. Being head of Senior VP of Global Services, I work with ASCAP members. I work with writers, composers, songwriters, publishers.
Right.
Of all stages of the career, young kids who just started out to major writers of the Great American Songbook, of film, of you name it, from successors to composers who passed away. So people who were big writers in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s who are gone, but their grandchildren are still earning royalties. So that connection one-to-one with ASCAP writers and publishers is so important to me. It's really my favorite part of the job. And why am I able to do that at ASCAP? Because of Berklee, because I know music. So with all the things that I learned at ASCAP about royalties, about the distribution, about the music business, every time something happened to me at ASCAP, it was because, well, I'm also a music guy. I also have that music thing in the background. And that mattered to the senior people at ASCAP as I was coming through the ranks. Like, yeah, he knows what he's doing at ASCAP, but he also knows music. You ever hear him play piano? And I could talk to, this is serious, because you sit and talk to a writer about their royalties and their business and their copyrights. And you have that moment of, well, I'm also a musician. I'm also a player. I went to Berklee. Like your credentials just break everything down. It's like, oh, we can talk.
Right.
We can talk.
So you're able to like relate to the artists or the publishers or whoever they kind of feel like you understand them on another level. I
don't write songs for a living on a day-to-day basis like they do, but I know how to do it. And I know what it takes to do it. And I appreciate at a gut level of what they're doing and how important we are to their career at ASCAP. Their royalties may be their biggest source of their income, because we tend to think of ASCAP writers as performers. Well, they're not all performers. The country music, a lot of guys are just writers. Diane Warren, we were talking about Diane Warren earlier today, 13 Oscar nominations. She's not a performer. She has no records out, but she's got 13 Oscar nominations for Best Song. Most people don't know what she looks like.
Yeah.
And royalties are her biggest source, because she doesn't sell out Madison Square Garden. She doesn't put out 25 records. She has to write, and she relies on places like ASCAP.
That's very interesting you say, because I just feel like there's always something going on in the music industry, business wise, right? So I'm always seeing like social media posts about people claiming different songs are taking their hooks or their their beats, you know. So it's interesting when you talk about like the royalties and stuff, because it is so much serious, and everybody, you know, they want to be paid for for their you know, their services or for their creativity. Do you have anything to say about that, or like what should people know I guess students like in this business, how can they protect themselves?
Quite a few ways of protecting themselves. First of all, joining a performing rights organization like ASCAP is really critical, because if your music is played on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, broadcast radio, Sirius XM, you name it. I could just keep going on for the next half hour about places your music can be played. If you don't join someplace like ASCAP or performing rights organization, we license the music to all of those entities I just named and countless others. HBO, local TV.
So like if they get used, if the songs get used in like a show or something?
The only way they're going to get paid is joining a performing rights organization. And guess what? It's something you're allowed to do yourself. If a writer wants to say, hey, I'll license my own music, you're free to do that. Good luck. And then I mean in capital letters, good luck. Because
it's a process.
Well, you're going to sit down. There are 13,000 radio stations in the United States. Are you going to go have a meeting with send emails to 13,000 stations? They're going to tell you, take a walk. You know what they're going to tell you? Join ASCAP. We already made a deal with them. We have a license with them. Why are you trying to do this by yourself? Right. So it's critical that they do that, number one. Number two, when they're writing, do your paperwork. That's why songwriters at the beginning have to understand how this works. Register with the Performing Rights Organization. Send in your registrations. This is my song. I wrote it. And by the way, I published it. If you don't get a deal with a major publisher, which you probably don't on day one, you set up yourself as Seth Saltzman writer, Seth Saltzman music. I'll be my own publisher. Maybe it's right out of my house. I'm not building a business, but you have to take both sides of the coin, right. Writer and publisher. You must do it. Third thing, if you're writing with other people, you must agree on the splits and the shares that day before you leave the room, before you start writing together. You have to agree, because if you don't, guess what? Somebody's going to leave the room and register the work and maybe not put the shares in that you thought you were going to get. And now you need another person on your team, and that's the lawyer or a boxer, or, you know, and I don't know, you know, and just never. And I'll tell that in every panel I go to with young writers. If you're writing by yourself, have a good time. Great. Good for you. If you're writing with one other person, never mind 5 other people, agree on the splits, or we're not going to write today. 25, 25, 25, 25. Good. Everybody's good. Let's write it down. Sign it. Everybody gets a copy, and it's done. Because I couldn't be more. It's probably the most serious thing I ever talk about with writers is do not fool around with that. Because I've heard every bad story. I've experienced it. I've watched it. And I've seen it happen. It's not nice.
Wow. I can only imagine.
So you got to do your homework.
Yeah.
You can't be casual about it.
Right.
It's creativity. You're writing. You're producing. Great. And there's the other side of it. Don't let it go, because it matters so much. Somebody's going to want to make money off that thing.
Exactly. And if you don't claim it, someone else will.
Do not get caught outside of that door.
Ooh, yes, that is a great
Sorry to be so firm on that.
No, I think that's very important for people to hear and understand. You know, everyone wants to create, and, you know, people think of the fame side of the music industry, but no one really thinks about like the business side of it, how people get their money, like especially like streaming services and then sales and like all of that. I just think it's just like a whole nother language, you know? So I think that's very important and very key for people to understand. So you have spoke a lot about how things were in the past and how things are right now. Where do you see the future of music business? How does that look like to you? Question
that's asked all the time. And have I the wisdom to say I know where it's going? Well, if you asked me 20 years ago where it would be now, I have to admit I would have been wrong. Where's it going? I can answer that based on what I'm watching and what I'm seeing. And sometimes I say, this is an uninformed opinion. No, this is a very informed opinion, right? I've been doing this a long time. Where it's going is much, much more, as fast as I can get my music to my audience, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get it to my audience on TikTok. I'm going to get it on YouTube. I'm going to get it to my audience on Instagram. Whatever I can do to get my music out fast, I'm going to do. Because there was a long time in the music business where people didn't have the equipment you're interviewing me on right now. right? Where we can have a little studio with a little digital recorder in front of us, and we could be in my bedroom or the basement or right now and make a really pretty good sounding record with the producer, and just get it out, drop it tonight, and it's out there, and your followers are picking it up. And what are the majors going to do about that? What do they want to do about that? So I think you can't stop it. It's going to keep getting much more one-to-one to personal, which is great for artists, but it's also rough.
Right.
I mean, there's so much out there. And without a record store where you walk into the record store and you're a young person, but you remember record stores. And when you walked in and you saw all these posters and signs featuring the records of the week, it's hard because if you only listen on your Spotify list or your Apple, I'm an Apple guy and not a Spotify guy. My kids are Spotify people, I think. You keep getting fed to you what things like you've been listening to.
The algorithm.
The algorithm keeps saying, well, you listen to that all the time, so
let's
you
suggest
must like this.
Right.
Well, maybe I don't, but it's also not flipping. You keep listening to this. Try this because you really should be lazy. That would be a cool thing, right?
Right.
I know you love Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, but why don't you try listening to some of this jazz? Because it would be a lot of fun.
Something different.
So that's the downside of what's happening is just there's just so much, and it's just the only 24 hours in a day, and you actually can't listen all 24. You have to take a nap. So how are you going to get out there and the attention for your ears and your eyeballs is relentless. It's relentless. There's stuff being driven at you all day long.
All day long. Honestly, people's attention span is like 8 seconds long and you have to catch it. And I really appreciate you bringing up TikTok because TikTok seems to be included in a lot of musicians' kind of like rollouts, right? They're always trying to have some type of challenge behind it or stuff like that. So when artists release music on TikTok, is that a way for them to get paid? Like, are they getting paid by that?
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the great things about ASCAP is we are constantly emerging. We're constantly looking for emerging technologies. And remember, in the world of copyright, a company like TikTok would never have gone out there and just tried to launch TikTok without getting the proper rights in place. So we were talking to TikTok very, very early on, having negotiations with them. And once we agreed on a license, we got the information, we got the license fees, the money, and we were able to say, okay, what music's being played on TikTok? And we did distribution. We've been doing distribution on TikTok for actually a little while already. So members are seeing money from TikTok fast.
Right. Especially if they go viral, right? There's like a challenge attached to that song.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, but what's really fascinating about it, if you're a TikTok artist, you can't take a nap. I mean, you've got to keep pushing it out
Generating
content. And because the nature of TikTok and the way people discover and the way it's pushed at you is it's extraordinary. And somebody knew about TikTok. Somebody invented it, right? But most of us would have been like, oh, yeah, we knew about TikTok. That was going to happen. No. They were all lying. They didn't know.
Right. It's just new and you just got to adapt to it, right? Something different. Do you have any advice to give to students today?
Now, the advice for students is, let me break it apart. If you're a writer, write a lot, write frequently, write with others, write in different styles, write on an instrument different than your own, if you can. If you're a guitarist and all you ever write on is a guitar, learn a little piano and try to write a song on piano, and your hands will have to go to different places that they wouldn't normally go to on a guitar. And if you're a piano player, learn how to play guitar a little bit, and you'll be fumbling around because you won't be as prodigious on guitar. So you'll have to maybe simplify some of the music you can't play that well on guitar. And the same thing if you go from guitar to piano. So for writers, write a lot, because when you sit down with a singer who may be interested in your songs and you say, I've got these 4, and they're like, wow, those are really good. What else you got? And you play another one. What else you got? Play another one. What else you got? So you have to, if you're a writer, if you're a writer, you've got to only want to be a writer. I mean, you can be a writer and a performer, but that writing has to keep on going. If you're a performer, you know how to play, you know how to sing, you know how to get up in front of an audience, you know how to get a band behind you. But that writing thing is a whole different ballgame. And I've seen too many writers who, put out 12 songs once every 3 years. Like, that's good, and the music is beautiful, but
it's not that good.
This is not the 1970s and 1980s. And I also tell people, I find it fascinating myself that the album is gone, right? It's been gone for a long time. The vinyl record, the CD has been gone for a while. But a lot of artists are still intent on putting together 14 songs at a time.
Sometimes even more.
Or more. Like,
yes.
why are you waiting around for 16? Your audience will take 5.
Right.
Get it out there.
Exactly.
And I think the more successful ones are, let's drop this record with 4 or 5 songs. Let's go. I don't need to create this thematic thing that I love growing up on. I'm of an age where, listen to the Beatles or Sgt. Pepper or Elton John, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, an album that just 2 albums, Stevie Wonder, Songs of the Key of Life. It's going somewhere. U2, The Joshua Tree. Just there's a thing from the beginning to end. There's a story there. But that's because they were selling this 2-sided 12-inch disc that you needed to fill up with stuff.
Right.
You don't need to do that anymore. There's no above limit, lower limit. You can do whatever you want. So I find it curious that people are still like, I've got to put together this whole package. If that's what your goal is, good, do it. But don't get caught up in it. Don't get caught up in it and end up having 5 songs that really don't mean a lot. Why do you want to put out stuff? It may be meaningful to you, but somebody's going to keep hit next.
Next, yeah. It's not sticking.
They hit that double arrow, you're dead. Single arrow, double arrow, they're on the end of the album.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So advice for writers, advice for performers. Good luck. Make a lot of money fast. I know I don't be facetious. Performing is really tough now. It only gets tougher, I think, for a lot of younger bands who play in clubs. The live music business paid a lot better in the old days. I don't mean major tours. Major tours are a whole other story. But if you're playing small venues and they want to give you half of the bar that comes in, or then they're only going to break even after you bring in 25 people, oh boy, good luck. That's a very hard way to make a living. So I wish them only luck, and don't stop. Don't stop, but you need to do it. And gas is $4.50 and $5 a gallon, and
so many different factors that have to weigh into it.
So many different factors. But keep pushing. If you're in film scoring, get out there, hook up with a composer, do whatever it takes. If they just want you to write a few cues, do it. Do it. Just get out there. But the cool thing about film scoring now, you can do it in New York, you can do it in Boston, you can do it in LA. It's still mainly an LA thing for sure, but it's obviously happening all over the world. But right. So the advice, and if you want to go into music business, which probably what I can speak best to, get in. If you have to get in on the ground floor, get in on the ground floor. If you can come in as a senior VP, God bless you. There's nothing wrong with that, but don't expect that on day one, even if you came out of Berklee or UCLA with a music business degree. You're going to miss a lot on the way up. If you only come in at that level, again, if you did that, good for you.
Yeah.
But if you did that, I learned about ASCAP from the ground floor. I didn't have a choice. They brought me, I managed to get in on the ground floor, but I learned so much about the company on my way up that along the way, I hope it made me much more valuable as each year went by and each different thing I got to do. So
yeah, and I'm sure it contributed to yourself as a leader because people got to know you and got to know how you are, and look at you now. So
yes,
what you did was awesome.
Thank you very much.
Do you have any last words you would like to say or to share with anyone? Do you have anything coming up? Any shows that you will be performing or putting on?
Yeah, charity work with the organization I was involved with many years, Why Hunger. Always make a pitch for Why Hunger, whyhunger.org. Check us out. We don't directly feed people, but we are about getting to the roots of why are people hungry and how can we solve the hunger problem, not the direct, we got to get people food right now. Why is anybody hungry? That's the bigger problem to solve. So doing work with that and keeping ASCAP going the best I can. And in these trying times, a lot of competition, a lot of new emerging technologies that we have to keep watching out for, and the economy, the way people listen to music, the economics of music. So there's a lot of challenges and a lot of great opportunities, and it's very exciting. But it all started at Berklee, and how exciting is that I can always bring it all around. That I learned about Berklee, I can come back to Berklee, and people from Berklee come to ASCAP,
right?
Whether
and
they're members or they're employees. So
yeah, students love you here. You know, you have great information to give to them. So I know that they're very, very appreciative. And the alumni office is appreciative for you to be here. We're so glad and honored that you came. And we hope that you had a great past couple of days. So thank you so much.
Thank you for the great questions and the great interview. Much, much appreciated. You're terrific.
For sure. Thank you. Well, you guys heard it here. The best, Seth Saltzman. Bye.
Bye.
All right, everyone. So that was the interview that we had with Seth Saltzman. It was so cool interviewing him and kind of just hearing and understanding all about his journey and his career. Hit us up on IG and let us know what you think the future of the industry looks like. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms, including Instagram and Facebook. We are interested to know what you think so that we can maybe feature it on our next podcast episode.
And now is the time. I would like to call this segment Ask the Mic. What do you think of that? What was yours?
I said questions for Kel, but...
Questions for Kel. You don't like that anymore?
I do like it. We could try it out. Questions for Kel.
Well, let us know on social and email which ones you prefer. Ask the Mic or Questions for Kel.
Yeah, I like that. Questions for
right.
Kel, because you know my name is Jaquel, so that's where the Quel, questions for Kel. You get it?
Yeah.
And then,
No, we all got it.
Ask the Mic. Which one do y'all think?
Ask the Mic, like pass the mic. Now you're asking the mic. That's your only two options. Anyway, so the question that we had for today was, how can Alumni Affairs help you connect in your area with other alumni? And Jaquel and I are doing an initiative where we are looking at our alum notes and we're looking at the different regions where people are reaching out from. We have seen a number of folks in the Minneapolis, St. Paul area we've been trying to reach out to. We've also noticed some people in the Pennsylvania, Philadelphia area. Really, the way we can help you out is if you come to us and let us know what's going on. If we can find a critical mass of people that are interested, then we could do a number of things. We could host an event. We could come out and have meetings. We could do some storytelling out there, be a podcast or a short video or anything like that. So reach out to us and let us know what's going on in your area, especially now that we're kind of post-pandemic. Hopefully, you know, people have moved around, things are changing. We'd love to know kind of where the little pockets of people are outside of the big regions that have been the tradition.
Connect with us. Let us know how we can help you connect with other people in this community. We definitely are looking forward to hearing from y'all, and we are excited to just see and catch up.
All right, and that's it. And, you know, as always, we like to play alumni music whenever we have a chance. So to play us out today is Soul Packs, which is Julian and Julia, who graduated in 2016. And if anyone else is interested in having us play your songs at the end of the podcast episodes, please reach out on social, email, you know where to find us.
Thank you all for listening. Hope you enjoyed your time, and be on the lookout for the next episode.
Sugar babe, I saw you hit me with that side eye. You wanna get into it. What I need, something to light it up. And if you're down, then you have to prove it. Don't be mad, don't be mad, don't be mad when I get it. 'Cause I got my signal blinking. You can ride or die, yeah. I don't need your permission. And if you're still unsure, why don't you take it to the floor? You can bring it on down. Drop it down, yeah, bring it on up. Let me see you bring it on out. All right, now bring it on up. All my fellas and ladies and everybody in between, shake your ass for me, baby. Come and get it one time, fellas, ladies, everybody in between. Shake that ass for me, darling. Come and get it one time for your mind. Everybody seems to want a piece of the action, so you should feel yourself a little more. I might roll my window down for you if you get off the wall. Get off the wall. Oh yeah, so don't be mad when I get it. 'Cause I got that signal blinking. You can ride or die, yeah. I don't need your permission. And if you're still unsure, why don't you take it to the floor? You can bring it on up. Drop it down and bring it on up. Let me see you bring it on up. All right, now bring it on up. Now my fellas, ladies, and everybody in between, shake that ass for me, baby. Hey, come and get it one time, fellas, ladies, everybody in between, shake that ass for me, darling. Come and get it one time for your mind. Snatch it up, chase a little drink in your cup, roll it, twist it up. Wanna hit a fat Dutch in the club? Hit me up, I'll set you up. Another round going down in the cut, drop it down, bring it up, bring it